Hi there. I want to record this video about how you can create a sub-agent. Today I'm going to create a sub-agent that helps me analyze market trends in the Gen AI space, or in the AI native dev tool space. A bit of background, I'm doing this in Wave. You can also do it in Claude Code if you prefer. Similar workflow. I just like to use Wave because I work with Wave, so it makes total sense for me. But also it's a little bit more GUI based, a little bit more visual. For me, a little bit easier to use as a not so terminal proficient person. But Wave is an AI native terminal. But as said, you can also do all of this in Claude Code. That's totally fine. I wanted to give you a little bit of background on why I chose to do this agent. So I am using Wave to work on Wave. Makes total sense. We have a couple of really big questions that we're dealing with. Firstly, being who should be our ICP, ideal customer profile, and who should be our early customer profile. We've been going around in circles over this quite a lot. We have a lot of ideas related to that. Of course, what is the big hair on fire problem that we should solve for them, and what's our positioning? We have a lot of ideas. We've tested a lot of things, but it's still something that we're discussing all the time. And in terms of positioning, we have two big things kind of standing around right now. The first one is it the AI native terminal that can operate your local computer and remote servers? It's kind of what you see today, similar to Claude Code in a sense, therefore also not so differentiated. Option two, we're building right now a builder inside Wave, which you can use to vibe code small personal tools and kind of other widgets, and you can control those with AI. So these are kind of two big things, potential positioning ideas that we have. So how do we figure that out? How do we find the answer? So I'm trying to analyze 4 different blocks of things. The first thing is like, what are Wave's current strengths and capabilities? What is it today? What are we good at? Any qualitative data, interviews, landing page test results, user test results. So that's great when you work locally. I have a huge folder filled with interview transcripts and interview notes, split by ICP. So I can have the Wave AI or Claude Code analyze all of that. Quantitative data, so what is happening in the product. I can, as you can see, this is, by the way, a web browser, which I opened inside Wave. What is cool is these are kind of widgets. One of them is the web browser. If you open those, the AI can see it. So I'm running Excalidraw in the terminal right now, and now the AI can see it. But the idea of, so another thing I could open in here is PostHog, for example. So I can open my my retention reports, etc., and then the AI can have a look at it with me. And then the last piece that I think is very relevant is market trends, right? Because this market is moving so fast. So I have a lot of context already for these other things, really neatly stored into folders, but I don't have a lot of context like how it changes over time on market trends. I'm doing that every time kind of ad hoc, but I feel like I need to do better there. So I figured I should build an agent that can write a report, like a market intelligence report, whenever I trigger it, and can write that report and store it in a dedicated folder. And maybe I will manually run it every week or every 2 weeks. I don't know yet. But then I can also see how things have changed over time by storing all of these kind of snapshots of what's going on right now. And then later I can have my AI, my GTM expert AI, also look at all of that work that it's done in the past. So that it's not like let's have a quick look, but really a deeper understanding of what's been going on in the market. So that's the sub-agent that I want to build today. I put here in a little file some rough notes on kind of what I wanted to do. And I'm just going to copy paste this whole thing over into the AI. Kind of what it says, I want to create a sub-agent that researches market trends in the Gen AI space that are relevant for me as a product manager or GTP and GTM expert at Wave Terminal. I will manually trigger the agent, so it doesn't have to have like a weekly cadence. I'll just do it. When triggered, the sub-agent should research specified web sources and write a summary to a markdown file and store that file in a dedicated folder. Give me a step-by-step plan for creating the sub-agent. Make it as simple as possible so that a non-technical person can easily build it, because I don't know really what I'm doing. And I also specified the agent job, like what kind of sources it should take into account. and then what it should write, kind of like Lenny Rachitsky's conversational style, like how he writes. What should be in it, don't invent stuff. So I copy pasted all of this in here. Let's go. So you see the agent is thinking. Let me move my face. Here it goes. Okay. Uh-oh, lots of work. Okay, so what does he say? Here's the simplest non-technical plan, thank you, to set up a manually triggered AI market intelligence subagent. Create a home for the subagent. Okay, so I need to create a folder in Wave Second Brain. That's a good part, good place. There I need to create 4 files, /reports, sources, prompts, and a readme, okay? And I need to define the trigger message. It will be this one, fine, because we can save that. I can just copy paste from it. Yep. Okay. Fill your sources list. Okay. Got it. Okay. How I'll run it. I'll open this assistant, paste her the trigger message, and it will just do it. Beautiful. And then I can set a weekly reminder for myself. Okay. Okay. So would you like me to create the folder and starter files? Yes, please. So it should be in Wave Second Brain. This one I create. So it should be somewhere in here. Yeah, I'm kind of messing it up because I already made a subagents folder. So now it's noticing that there already is a subagents folder. Well done. Yes, sure. So now it wrote its first text file. There it is. And it's going to write another one. Yeah, look, it's putting them in here. Oh, look at that. It wrote all that. I didn't do any of that. So I'll create it. Oh, there they are, look. Okay, what's cool is that I also have, so I have the file manager. I can look for files within Wave Terminal, and I can also edit files within Wave Terminal. So sometimes I'd want the agent to update files, but sometimes I just want to manually do it. It just seems easier. So let's have a check. Let's look at the prompt. Okay. So now I can manually edit it and see if this is what I like. Okay. And now I think what's important is the sources. Okay, I did a really good job. Okay. So it seems that everything is there. I'm just curious to see if it works. Okay, how to trigger each week. Copy, paste. Okay, so let's say run it. time for some targeted searches. I'm expecting this to take some time because I gave it a lot of sources for it to look at. So this is where it will end up. Just while we're working on this, I can show you, for example, how I do interviews. I have here a folder, Wave Interviews. In there I have my ICPs split, and also the things I learned from going to meetups, just my notes from going to offline events. But here are the interviews for product people, interviews for influencer, DevOps people, for regular DevOps people, for developers. And if I open that, there are folders with names of people. That's why I won't open it right now, because I don't want to expose any personal information. But there will be folders for every person that I've interviewed. And if you open that folder, in there is one document called Else's Notes. These are the notes that I manually took during the interview. And there's another file in there, which is the full transcript. So I also tell the AI, look, there's the full transcript. You can use that also to pull out the actual words used by interviewees, which is very useful if you're writing website copy, etc. But I wanted to prioritize my notes because I still believe that my notes that I took are better than the notes that the things that the AI thinks were important in that interview. So I always have those two documents split. I'm not going deeper in here because I don't want to show you the names. But that's the other piece over here. So qualitative data, interviews, etc. Quantitative data, I would open post hoc and have the AI look at it in the web browser over here. Wave strengths capabilities, I have a folder in Wave, which is, so here, for example, I have growth strategies in here, and I have here positioning ICP. So these are kind of documents where I stored these big high-level discussions that we've had, and these big questions, strategic questions that we're trying to answer, like our ICP options, outlining the ICPs and the ECPs that we're considering, and the pros and cons of each, and any learnings that we've made for each. Specific use cases, I can open this. What Wave is good at. This is kind of like, okay, these are things that you could totally do with Wave quite easily. I keep adding to those when I talk to power users who are telling me about their use cases that are really, really great for them. So this is kind of growing. So there's a lot of documents with, okay, what is it, right? Potential positioning ideas, product categories, etc. So this folder contains all of these big debates that we're having about what it is, what it should be. So I think this is the big benefit for me about working with a tool that runs locally versus what I did before. I was using custom gems on Gemini or GPT projects, but these things got stale really quickly. So in all of these LLMs that I really liked, all of these like online interfaces, I had uploaded some documents, and then I was talking to in this chat interface. But very soon after, I realized that the documents that I had used before were already completely stale because things change so quickly, right? So it was just kind of almost out of date. So I stopped using them. So this is nicer because I more naturally maintain my local files. So as it grows and as it changes, my AI is always up to date on what is the current status. So that's easier. What I'm missing still, I wonder if anybody else has that, is a way to beam or to transfer some parts of the stuff that I've worked on locally to the cloud to collaborate with teammates. Because I see the big benefit of working locally, but I think there's also a big benefit of collaborating with teammates in the cloud. So I'm thinking about how that transition could work. Oh, it seems to have already written something. Okay, cool. So it wrote something. So it has this diff thing. Right now they're both the same. But if I ask it later to edit the file, it will show me the previous one and the diff side by side, which is very cool because then I can choose to accept or reject the things that it changed. I'm also using this for myself because when I write an article, I usually just write forever. I start writing on my own. But then I often use LLMs to sharpen it or to change the structure. And it's very nice for me to have the full thing that I wrote versus what the LLM changed side by side, so I can easily decide what I accept and what I don't accept. Anyway, so let's look at the report. Let's look at one. Okay, pretty good. Pretty good. Okay. So let's see. Get out of here. So it should be in, I think, subagents. There it is. Okay. Well, made my subagent and ran it for the first time. All seems to be working well. So as mentioned, what is quite cool is I can quickly change how the agent works by just manually editing these files or talking to the AI about how I should fix it. And yeah, I hope this gets you started in building your own subagent. I found out it's much easier this way than I thought it would be. So yeah, good luck and reach out to me if you want my help.